Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Talking about our problems is our greatest addiction. Break the habit, talk about your joys. Problems and teenagers. These are two words which are very different from each other, but people today are not at all ready to accept it. Teenagers, what is the first thought comes to your mind after listening this word? Is it that we are responsible, smart, or high achieving? No, it's that we are violent, out of control, narcissistic, or just plain rude. I know for a fact that this is not at all an accurate representation of who I am or who my friends and classmates are. So today I am here to tell you all about the most complicated part of one's life, and that is teenage. I will tell you some of the issues faced by the teenagers in this technological society and why and how they came about. All people have to go through their teenage years. Some of you sitting here have already passed those years, some are on their way, and some are still dreaming about the time when they will finally grow up. Every teen is different and is an individual in their own right. Same as adults. I think most teenagers are just looking for meaning in their lives and trying to reach a point of independence. As a teenager, I and most of my friends strive to learn and grow. Teenagers are the most misunderstood people on this planet. They are treated like children and expected to act like adults. Every older generation claims that teenagers today are out of control, have no discipline, are into crimes, their clothes are weird, their music is noise, and etc., etc., etc. Nowadays, teenagers have changed in comparison with the teens in the past, such as in eating habits, in an active way of life, in spending free time, etc. Older generations think that they were well-behaved teens and that crimes didn't exist in their time. But they are just fooling themselves. Right now, it's funny to admit that the problems we teenagers face are not exactly proposed to be problems, but they eventually become those because we tend to make them to be just that. A general problem we teenagers face is that when someone asks us what we want to become in life, when we don't even know what we will do tomorrow. Just because you can't decide about your future right now doesn't mean that you won't have one. I believe that the most difficult part of our life is facing problems. But if we tend to make it a problem indeed, then it will be something to worry about. We choose our happiness and sorrows long before we experience them. If I talk about some of the major and common issues teenagers face today, like depression, bullying, suicide, etc., why they face these problems? Is it due to relationships, due to stress, due to expectations? Yes, it is. We teenagers are like robots. We are expected to hold 20 bags with just our 10 fingers. Is it possible? 1 out of every 6 teenager faces these problems. These problems can only be controlled if we are treated like humans, if we are not given the tag of stupid punks, if we are not thrashed for small mistakes, if people don't burden us with expectations, then surely today's teenagers, today's generation, today's youth will surely be saved. So, let me conclude with a very important message for all of us through a beautiful hadith narrated by Abu Huraira. The Prophet ﷺ said, "There are 7 whom Allah will shade with His shade on the day when there will be no shade but His, among whom He mentioned a young man who grew up worshipping Allah." Al-Bukhari and Muslim. So, as the young generation of today, we should understand that the solution of every problem lies in seeking the path of Allah. Sometimes problems don't require a solution to solve them, but they require maturity to outgrow them. By Steve Maraboli. Jazakallah.